Today we're doing some primitive or rustic style Easter crafts. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Carolyn. Alright, let's get to it. This first one, I was inspired by a few of these that I saw online. I don't know who came up with a little rabbit in an egg first. A lot of times they're done in a half of a plastic egg. That's not the way I did it, but if you search for these on Pinterest, you'll find more of these for inspiration. I took a 9-inch balloon, and I'm pretty sure they sell that size at the Dollar Tree. And I didn't blow it up very much, not to full size. And I took some of the brown paper you can find at the Dollar Tree, usually in the shipping supplies. And I cut and tore little squares of paper, and I'm taking watered down Elmer's glue, school glue, and just going to cover this little balloon in those strips of paper. Here I am doing the second round of covering this in paper strips. I ended up doing 3 layers total on this to make it nice and sturdy so it's not flimsy and not easy to squeeze and crumple it in your hands. Once it was totally dry, I removed the balloon and I'm going to cover up these holes that are left. And I did more than one layer over the holes, but I'm just showing you one layer that I've done here. Using an X-Acto knife and then followed that up by using a pair of scissors, I just made a hole here on the front of the egg, and I'm going to give this a coat of antique wax, trying to be, not very heavy-handed with it. I'm taking some tan acrylic paint, watering it down, and going to use this fan brush to make some splatters on the egg. Now we're going to make the little rabbit to go inside of the egg, and I'm using these little styrofoam balls from the Dollar Tree. I wasn't sure which direction I was going with this. I was completely winging it, and so I made these holes in each ball here to tuck any excess fabric into, and I did end up doing that, but I'm not sure I had to do that. But this is the technique that I ended up doing, and I'm going to use a line of hot glue, you can see here, and just squeezing the fabric to where it seals the styrofoam ball inside the fabric. It's almost going to look like when you suck the air out of a bag. And so it's just going to be, I'm encapsulating this styrofoam ball here using the hot glue, and then I'm going to trim away the excess. It's sort of difficult to explain, but I just wanted a seal of hot glue all the way around, and then when I trimmed away, I was hoping that it would still be together, but I was too light-handed. I wasn't heavy-handed enough with the hot glue on the first one. I did better on the second one, but whenever I trimmed that away, then I did have to go back with some hot glue and pinch together, the seam there. And then on the second one, just so I wasn't working with so much fabric, I made a rough template using the hole that I cut out of the canvas, to just make it smaller. And then I just did the same thing, but I used more hot glue on the second one. And then when I trimmed it away, because I'd used such a thick line of hot glue, it really was still sealed. I didn't have to go back in and close up, the openings there. You might have a better way of covering a ball in fabric, but this was really, I just was trying to do a rustic look anyway. So in my mind, I was just gonna wing it and just get it covered. And it didn't really matter if it was really rough because I wanted it to have a really rough and rustic look. I just freehanded some ears, and so they would stand up a little bit. I used this garden twist tie, this roll of twist tie from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to glue that on the inside, leaving some excess coming out the bottom so that I can glue that into the head of the bunny rabbit. And these will make it to where I can bend the ears whichever way I think looks good as well. This fabric that I'm using is from an old painting drop cloth that I got from Home Depot. It's been used several times and washed several times as well. And once you wash them, they soften up and lose that stiffness that they have when you first get them out of the package. I took a tiny screwdriver and just, poked 2 holes in the top and glued and stuck those ears right down in there. Now I had a little bit of difficulty with this face. At first I cut out a face out of some scrap leather that I had, and I decided that it was too thick. The eyes looked okay to me, but the mouth was too thick and the nose, and I wanted it to be a little bit thinner, but I was just being lazy and didn't want to get up in the closet to get down my sewing box where my embroidery floss was. And I could have either sewn a face really easily, hand sewn a face onto him, or even once I got done making him, even glued the embroidery floss to his face. It would have looked better. I ended up not liking the leather, but now that I'm rewatching the video, it looked okay. I ended up trying to use some twine, which I felt was thinner than the leather, but now that I'm watching the video, I think they were similar in size. So, whichever way you're comfortable with, you could even just draw the face on or use some puff paint or really just anything, that whatever you feel comfortable working with. And it turned out okay. It's definitely rustic, and it was the first one. If I could go back, I would have just sewn a little face onto him, a little smile, little eyes, maybe even used a little bead for the eyes. I don't know, but I wanted to get this video out, and so I didn't want to completely redo it again and keep working on the face. So it turned out okay. He's still pretty cute, if not just a touch creepy, but maybe more cute than creepy, I'm hoping. I took a strip of scrap fabric and just tied it around his neck. And then I made him some arms, and all I did was folded over some of the scrap fabric and then glued that together so that they would be a little bit thicker, and then just freehand cut out a couple of arms for him and glued them right onto his body. I wanted him to be holding a little carrot, so one of the giant skewer sticks from the Dollar Tree that you can get in the summertime, the spring and summer, I just cut the end of that off, and then I rounded the top edges with the miter shears after I, cut the end of that skewer stick off, and then took and sanded it so to smooth away the rough edges, painted it with some orange chalk paint by Waverly, and then just hot glued some clippings of some faux greenery on the top. I hot glued him down inside of the egg and then took some Spanish moss from the Dollar Tree and just filled in around him a little bit. This is just a quick reminder that if you like this video, click that thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't already so that you don't miss any future videos. Let's get back to crafting. For this one I needed a rabbit template and I wasn't sure which one I wanted to use here. I copied two by just putting a piece of paper up to my computer screen and tracing, you can see through that thin copy paper and just tracing it out. I ended up using this one here, and I'm using that same canvas fabric and cutting out two of these rabbits. I used some fabric glue and just glued the two pieces together face to face and left an opening at the bottom so that I can stuff some filler, some pillow fill inside. Once I got that as full as I wanted it, I just went ahead and closed that up with some hot glue. And then I cut away any excess and took the edge of the scissors and just frayed up the edges some. You could leave him just like this. You could put a simple bow on him, but I'm going to give him a scarf, and I'm going to start by taking this lace trim from the Dollar Tree and darkening it up with some antique wax. I also used that same canvas fabric and cut out a shape of a carrot and painted that with the chalk paint, the orange chalk paint by Waverly. I cut the trim down just a little bit, made it a little bit skinnier to look better on the scarf, and just hot glued it right on there. I just wanted it to have two layers to the scarf to make it look, a little bit prettier. I took a square of the scarf fabric and then pulled some of the threads out of the edges to fray up the edges some and hot glued that right onto the front of him. And then I'm going to hot glue the carrot on top of that. going to use a little bit of faux greenery, just a little snippet of faux greenery there, and hot glue that for the greenery on top of the carrot. You can skip this step, but I grunged up the edges of the rabbit with some antique wax. You could do lots of different things with this little rabbit. You could give him a face, give him a tail. The Dollar Tree sold last year some faux cotton, and it was really, that would look really cute as a tail, but I just wanted to keep it simple. For this last one, you've probably seen the AI generated paintings where it's a human body with an animal head, and they're very quirky, and most of the time they're cute because it's computerized. It's a digital painting and not like an actual painting where it looks like it's really truly old. And so they usually lean more cute than quirky, but I don't like how it looks AI. AI has that specific look to it, and it doesn't look like real brushstrokes. It looks like a computer generated painting. And so I took some real paintings of people from the 1800s and some real paintings of rabbits from the 1800s, and I put them together, and it definitely did turn out creepy because they are, the paintings of the rabbits usually are creepy in the 1800s if you look those up. The last one I did, I took an actual photo, just trying something different, and took a public domain photo of a rabbit. And so the last one is a little more cute than creepy, but the first ones are definitely quirky and definitely creepy. And I sort of like them. What you could do with them is make an assemblage or a vignette with other slightly quirky items for Easter. I would do definitely primitive style stuff to put with it. Grunged up eggs, maybe some little figurines like little ducks or rabbits or any little animals, and maybe have them have wire arms and just make them really quirky. And I think that would look, if I had the time, but I wanted to get this video out, I would have put more into it and built around the paintings more. But this was the last craft, and I was already late to get a video out for the week. And so I'll have all of these in the description box for you to use for, whatever, however. But I turned the first one into a Tavern sign. And so that's the direction I went with it. And I will have that in the description box as well, the Tavern sign that I designed. And I sized it for this $3 wood panel from the Dollar Tree in the plus section. And so I sized it just right to where if you cut away the sort of gold color band around it, then that will fit perfectly into that panel there. And I just Mod Podged that inside of there, and it worked out very well. I just had it printed off at Walgreens, and you definitely want to wait until Walgreens has a 40% off sale. And then what I did, it was 11 by 14 poster. Their enlargements, I think, are just called posters. I'm not super familiar with Walgreens photo department, but that's what I had to order in order to get larger than an 8 by 10 was a poster. And so you can catch sales for their photo department all the time. And I did get this 40% off. I think it came out to $7 for the print, which isn't too bad. But I did cover it with Mod Podge because it was very shiny. And so I covered it with matte Mod Podge to take some of that shine off of there. And I did do sort of a crisscross pattern there and was heavy-handed. It does not make, I mean, I know that people say that if you do this on top of a print that it'll make it look like a painting. I don't think it looks like a painting, but it looks more like a painting than it did before. Before it was very shiny and plasticky looking, the print, and so it did make it look better, and it did give it more of a matte sheen than that glossy sheen, which I think looks better. But I did do antique wax on the frame and then put some little hangers on it and hung it up with a chain. And again, not everybody's style, but I find it really quirky and I like it. I can't really explain why, but I just like it. That's it for this one. If you ever have any questions, drop those in the comments. I try to make my videos not too long, but still be thorough in explaining things, but it's impossible to be thoroughly thorough while also not dragging it out into an hour-long video. It's sometimes hard to walk that line. But thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. See you in the next one.